The enhancement of his spirit root aptitude brought great pleasure to Lin Jing's mood. Then, Lin Jing stood up, stored away the cloud-patterned purple gold furnace, and then left the system space. Upon leaving the system space and reappearing, he was in the room of the small courtyard. Right after teleporting, Lin Jing felt the surrounding spiritual energy, much richer than that on Flame Island, enveloping him. Lin Jing stepped out of the room and walked outside. Standing in the courtyard, Lin Jing took a deep breath, looked around at everything, and then lifted his gaze towards the sky. The courtyard outside remained unchanged as usual. The sky overhead was unchanged too, still blue and interspersed with white clouds. Gazing at this familiar place, perhaps because of the improved aptitude, he felt somewhat different compared to before, as if he had gained new perceptions. Lin Jing stood there in the courtyard, carefully feeling these different changes. Just as Lin Jing was feeling these differences, someone suddenly visited outside, snapping Lin Jing back to reality. Regaining his senses, Lin Jing immediately extended his divine sense to scan outside. Outside the courtyard, Li Qingqing was standing there, looking somewhat anxious. In response, Lin Jing moved his mind, and the outer door opened directly. Taken aback for a moment, Li Qingqing quickly walked in. Upon her arrival, Li Qingqing spoke directly to Lin Jing. "Brother Lin Jing, Yi Yun has been injured." Upon hearing this, Lin Jing furrowed his brows and asked, "What happened to Yi Yun?" Li Qingqing then said to Lin Jing, "Brother Lin Jing, Yi Yun's injuries are quite difficult to handle. How about we go see him first, and I'll explain on the way?" Lin Jing nodded and said, "All right." Having said that, the two of them left the small courtyard and headed towards the Li family. On the way, Li Qingqing explained the situation to Lin Jing. Previously, the Li family had an incident at an elixir pavilion in Qishan City with people from another family, necessitating someone to handle it. Since the other party had a golden core cultivator station there, the people the Li family sent couldn't be below golden core cultivation. It only required one of the Li family's golden core cultivators to investigate the matter clearly, and then negotiate with the other party to resolve it. But Li Qingqing was just at a critical breakthrough period, not suitable for traveling, and Elder Jean had gone to handle another matter at another Li family property. That was when Yi Yun, following Lin Jing's instructions, came to the Li family. After arriving at the Li family and learning about the matter, Yi Yun volunteered to take responsibility for it. This matter, with Yi Yun handling it, was expected to proceed smoothly and be completed. And indeed it did. After going to Qishan City, Yi Yun made a visit to the opposing family, swiftly managed to settle the matter, and no issues arose during the process. After settling the matter, Yi Yun didn't linger in Qishan City and chose to leave directly. But on his way back, Yi Yun was ambushed. Yi Yun was severely injured in that ambush. As for who the attacker was, even Yi Yun was not sure. He only knew that the attacker's cultivation was not low, already at the golden core peak. Moreover, the attacker cultivated demonic path techniques, possessing very strange demonic techniques. Yi Yun had to exert all his strength to injure the attacker and escape from the predicament by fleeing back. Someone who cultivates demonic techniques, Lin Jing said, frowning. Li Qingqing nodded and said, "Yes, that's what Yi Yun said. This Nanming domain isn't the demonic monster sea. The demonic monster sea houses many demon cultivators, and practicing demonic techniques isn't unusual there. However, in the Nanming domain, those who cultivate demonic techniques are extremely rare. Generally, even if someone cultivates demonic techniques, they rarely reveal themselves. After all, the spiritual energy in the Nanming domain is scarce, and the techniques cultivated are mostly those evil demonic techniques that erase humanity, using other cultivators as resources for cultivation. Therefore, everyone in the Nanming domain deeply abhors those who practice demonic path techniques. Of course, there are exceptions, like the demon lord behind the black market of Nanshan Immortal City earlier. Although the demon lord cultivates demonic techniques, as long as he isn't provoked, he doesn't kill innocent people. He only attacks those who provoke him. Moreover, that Demon Lord is a nascent soul, true monarch. Ordinary forces wouldn't dare provoke him without a reason. Thus, although the Demon Lord is well known, no one harbors hatred toward him. Soon, Lin Jing and Li Qingqing arrived at the Li family. After arriving at the Li family, under Li Qingqing's guidance, the two entered the Li family's inner courtyard. In a secret chamber of the Li family's inner courtyard, Lin Jing saw Yi Yun meditating to recover from his injuries. At this moment, Yi Yun appeared pale, and his aura was also notably weaker. On his body, there were several dark red wounds crisscrossing. Inside those wounds, it was evident that demonic qi was rampaging, further exacerbating the injuries. This demonic qi seemed to also be corrosive. Whenever Yin tried to use his spiritual energy to heal the wounds, the demonic qi became more active, disturbing the spiritual energy and preventing Yi Yun from recovering. Moreover, from the demonic qi on Yi Yun's wounds, Lin Jing sensed a familiar feeling. Upon Lin Jing's arrival, Yi Yun naturally sensed it too. Yi Yun opened his eyes, saw Lin Jing, and in a mortified tone, lowered his head and said, "Master." Lin Jing didn't speak but walked forward, first extending his divine sense into Yi Yun's body, examining him thoroughly inside and out. Yi Yun, without any defenses, allowed Lin Jing to inspect him earnestly. After a thorough examination, Lin Jing finally understood the situation inside Yi Yun's body. Yi Yun's external injuries appeared quite severe, but inside his body, there were no significant issues, just some demonic qi wandering through Yi Yun's meridians, seemingly devouring the spiritual power within him. After confirming the situation, Lin Jing immediately extended his hand, then activated the 5 elements divine art, and instantly, several streaks of 5-colored aurora shot out from Lin Jing's hands. After the 5-colored aurora was released, Lin Jing directly controlled it to fly to the wounds on Yi Yun. As the 5-colored aurora approached, the demonic qi that had been active around Yi Yun's wounds, as if encountering its nemesis, directly shrank into a ball. Lin Jing then controlled the 5 elements divine art to close in on the demonic qi, dispersing it. In just a moment, the demonic qi was completely scattered by the 5-colored aurora. The 5 elements divine art had a restraining effect on demonic techniques, which was not just talk. After the demonic qi was dispelled, Yi Yun's wounds no longer continued to worsen. Having expelled the demonic qi from the wound, Lin Jing once again gathered the 5-colored aurora and sent it into Yi Yun's body. With the entry of the 5-colored aurora, the demonic qi hidden in Yi Yun's meridians was also scattered bit by Lin Jing. It didn't take long for the demonic qi to be completely purged. Following that, Lin Jing withdrew the 5-colored aurora and then took out a rejuvenation pill used for healing from the space ring, handing it over, and said, "You should heal first. We'll talk about the rest after you've recovered." Yi Yun nodded his head. He took the rejuvenation pill and swallowed it whole, then immediately began to meditate and recover from his injuries. Seeing Yi Yun meditate, Lin Jing and Li Qingqing then stepped outside. By the time Yi Yun finished healing, several hours had passed. Once Yi Yun had recovered, he immediately sought out Lin Jing. Then, Yi Yun explained the situation to Lin Jing. After resolving the matter in Qishan City for the Li family, Yi Yun did not stay long and headed straight back. However, not long after he left Qishan City, he suddenly encountered an attack from a demon cultivator. Speaking of the attack, Yi Yun paused, then said, "The demon cultivator seemed to recognize me. He went all out from the beginning, as if he wanted to kill me outright. But it seemed he didn't understand me well enough and didn't know I was a body refinement cultivator. Although I am at the 8th layer of Golden Core, I have cultivated the Overlord Divine Physique given by Master, and it was because he was unaware of my true strength that he failed to kill me instantly. Thanks to the Overlord Divine Physique, I had the chance to fight back and severely injure him. If it were not for my previous injuries from him, perhaps I could have captured him with that counterattack." Hearing this, Lin Jing asked, "What happened afterward?" Yi Yun said, "The demon cultivator, after being severely injured, immediately fled. At that time, I was already seriously injured and worried about potential ambushes, so I didn't dare to pursue him and came straight back here. Lin Jing nodded and said, "You did the right thing. Under those circumstances, it indeed wouldn't have been wise to chase after him." After speaking, Lin Jing inquired further, "What did the demon cultivator who attacked you look like?" Yiyan shook his head and said, "He was wearing a magical treasure mask when he attacked me. Divine sense couldn't penetrate it, so I have no idea what he actually looks like. However, I could distinctly sense that he wasn't experienced in fighting others, although his cultivation was high." At this point, Yiyan paused and pondered for a moment before continuing. It felt like he was from some noble family within a clan, someone who rarely engages in battle. He was also very impatient, lacking steadiness, and seemed to be quite young. Had he been the calm and experienced type, used to fighting others, I definitely wouldn't have survived with his advantage of a surprise attack. Lin Jing nodded to acknowledge this, saying, "All right, I understand." After that, Lin Jing said, "Let's put this matter aside for now. There is another, more important task at hand that I need both of you to take care of." Li Qingqing, incredulous, asked, "Me as well?" Lin Jing nodded. "Master, what is it that you want us to do?" Yiyan directly asked Lin Jing. "Enhance aptitude," said Lin Jing. Enhance aptitude? Li Qingqing clearly had not yet grasped the concept. "Master, you've managed to refine the cleansing spirit elixir?" Yiyan asked, somewhat surprised. Triggered by Yi Yun's words, Li Qingqing also realized the situation, looking at Lin Jing with a face full of astonishment. Lin Jing nodded and said, "Yes." Upon saying this, Lin Jing took out 2 jade vials from the space ring and handed one to each, Li Qingqing and Yiyan. "These are supreme-grade cleansing spirit elixirs. Both of you should take them to enhance your spirit root aptitude." Supreme-grade cleansing spirit elixir. Yiyan gazed at the jade vial in Lin Jing's hand, lost in a daze. After a while, Yiyan came to his senses and quickly asked Lin Jing, "Master, if you're giving us these cleansing spirit elixirs, what about yourself?" Li Qingqing also chimed in, "Yes. Lin Jing, you should take the cleansing spirit elixir first." Lin Jing just smiled faintly and replied, "I have already taken one. These 2 are for you. Don't worry. Beside these 2, I still have a few left. Later, the remaining cleansing spirit elixirs can be given to Lin Ju and Li Tongyu among others. Aren't you confident in my alchemy skill?" At this point, both were reassured. After all, as a descendant of the ancient alchemy path, the elixir medicine Lin Jing refined were surely of much higher quality than those made by others. Hence, they had no doubts about Lin Jing's words. All right. Having said that, they each took a jade vial. Afterward, Lin Jing shared his experience of taking the cleansing spirit elixir with them so they could be mentally prepared. Then, they both went their separate ways to enhance their aptitude. As for Lin Jing, he did not leave, but stayed with the Li family to prevent any accidents. Hours later, 2 auras burst forth from different directions. Soon after, both Lin Ju and Li Qingqing approached Lin Jing. "Master, my aptitude has improved," Yiyan expressed with great excitement. Li Qingqing was equally thrilled. Clearly, the aptitudes of both had been successfully enhanced. The supreme-grade cleansing spirit elixir truly was extraordinary. Lin Jing was very happy as well. The spirit root aptitude of his companions, though passable and not the worst, was nothing exceptional. If they continued cultivating with such aptitude, they would inevitably hit a bottleneck one day, unable to make further progress for life. But now, with the cleansing spirit elixir, their enhanced aptitude could take their cultivation journey further, perhaps even leading them to greater distances. Lin Jing did not consider himself a saint, but for his close friends, he would help as much as he could. Continual companionship on his journey was a kind of happiness in itself. Afterward, Lin Jing spoke to the 2. "Both of your spirit root aptitudes have successfully improved, which is excellent. Next, we should discuss the matter of that demon cultivator." Hearing Lin Jing bring up the demon cultivator again, Both Li Qingqing and Yi Yun turned serious. Li Qingqing then asked, Lin Jing, do you know that demon cultivator? Lin Jing pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, Yes. If I am not mistaken, the demon cultivator who injured Yi Yun should be Yun Long, the young master of the Yun family. Ah, Yun Long. Li Qingqing looked incredulous. Yi Yun's brow furrowed as well. Yi Yun was obviously aware of Yun Long. Wasn't the Yun family already dealt with by the three major sects? Why would Yun Long still appear? Lin Jing, could you be mistaken? Li Qingqing asked doubtfully. Lin Jing shook his head and said, The demonic qi in the wounds on Yi Yun is too familiar to me. When I visited the Yun family before, I saw Yun Long casting demonic techniques, and it was exactly this type of demonic qi. Furthermore, based on Yi Yun's previous description, I am certain that the assailant was definitely Yun Long. This, Li Qingqing and Yi Yun both fell silent after hearing it. Yun Long not only survived but also reappeared, which was quite extraordinary. Initially, the Yun family practiced demonic techniques and were publicly exposed by Lin Jing, leading to their destruction. This issue was significant, with all three major sects of the Nanming domain intervening and taking control of the Yun family, taking away key members. Logically, after such a major incident involving the Yun family, even the Qingyuan sword sect got involved. Even if their relationship with the Nanming immortal sect was extraordinary before, they should not have been so easily released to cause more chaos. Even if the Nanming immortal sect was willing, the Qingyuan sword sect would probably not be happy about it, not to mention anyone else, especially Elder Wang, who would definitely be the first to object. Unless there were other secrets involved in this matter. Li Qingqing and Yi Yun obviously realized this too. So they both turned, looking at Lin Jing. After pondering for a moment, Lin Jing spoke to Li Qingqing. Qingqing, you have some connections with Elder Wang, right? Could you find a way to inquire about the Yun family situation from Elder Wang? I want to know how the three major sects handle the Yun family. Also, does Elder Wang know about this or not? Li Qingqing looked at Lin Jing, suddenly speaking. Brother Lin Jing, do you mean that it's very likely that the Nanming immortal sect did this, and the other two sects don't know? Lin Jing nodded and said, That's possible, so we need to ask first. Li Qingqing nodded and said, I understand, Brother Lin Jing. This time Yun Long did not reveal his true identity. Even if he encountered others, they would not be able to recognize him. Clearly, he did not dare to expose himself brazenly. He was probably also apprehensive. But with the intervention of the three major sects, he should not have emerged. Clearly, someone must have helped him. Lin Jing was now unsure who this helper was. Or rather, if it was the Nanming immortal sect doing it. So, Lin Jing had to let Li Qingqing first find out clearly. After Li Qingqing's words had fallen, Lin Jing spoke again, adding, If Elder Wang does not know about this, do not tell him about it either. If it is as we suspect, I think Elder Wang, even if he knew, would only be adding to his troubles. If the Nanming immortal sect truly wants to protect the Yun family like this, it might be better if we handle it. Lin Jing's words left Li Qingqing very puzzled. Handle it ourselves? Brother Lin Jing, are you planning to take action personally and eliminate Yun Long? Facing Li Qingqing's question, Lin Jing then said, Yun Long being able to come out must have had assistance, and the only one capable of interfering in this matter to help Yun Long would be the Nanming immortal sect among the three major sects. Wasn't there news before that the Yun family was working for the Nanming immortal sect, and their desire to obtain the Li family's inheritance elixir technique was also the intent of the Nanming immortal sect? Now it seems this statement might indeed have some basis. If that's the case, then Yun Long will definitely reappear and cause trouble for your Li family. After hearing this, Li Qingqing frowned deeply, inevitably feeling worried. If the Nanming immortal sect was actually behind this, then even within Nanshan Immortal City, she might not be able to escape its reach. However, the Li family still had some connections at the Qingyuan sword sect, which might be why they were holding back for now. If the Nanming immortal sect really could not wait any longer and decided to forcibly take what they wanted, the Li family's elixir technique would likely be undefendable. Seeing Li Qingqing's troubled expression, Lin Jing naturally understood her worries and thus comforted her. "Qingqing, don't worry. I won't go back for now. I will stay here and see if Yunlong will show up again. If he doesn't appear, so be it. If he does appear, I will take action against Yunlong and see what the Nanming immortal sect really wants." Upon hearing this, Li Qingqing nodded, saying, "Thank you, Brother Lin Jing." In the following days, the elixir pavilion and spirit field of the Li family faced frequent disturbances. All was not well. However, during these days, Li Qingqing went to the Qingyuan sword sect to find Elder Wang for information. It wasn't until several days later that Li Qingqing returned, having finally gathered some news. After receiving the information, she came to find Lin Jing and Yi Yun to share what she had learned. The matter involving the Yun family had indeed been handled by all three major sects initially, but later, when everything was confirmed, the divinity transformation elder of the Nanming immortal sect personally stepped in and took all the direct descendants of the Yun family, stating that the Nanming immortal sect would handle it themselves. Moreover, for this matter, the Nanming immortal sect even conceded many benefits to the other two major sects. Since the Yun family was originally a subordinate family of the Nanming immortal sect, this time the divinity transformation elder of the Nanming sect personally stepped in. The Qingyuan sword sect and the Yun pavilion thus said no more, instead handing over the remaining direct descendants of the Yun family to the Nanming immortal sect for handling. Afterward, the Nanming immortal sect took the direct descendants back, executed a batch, and invited members from the other two major sects to witness in person. As for remaining members like Yunlong and Ancestor Yun, the real power holders of the Yun family, they were detained and sent to a demon cave specifically used by the Nanming immortal sect to punish disciples. It said that no one sent to that demon cave has ever emerged alive. Even the demonic techniques in front of the other two sects members were publicly burned by the Nanming immortal sect. Seeing that the demonic techniques were already destroyed, the members from the other two major sects no longer pursued the matter. And with that, the issue was resolved. However, since Yunlong had reappeared, it went without saying, all of this must have been the Nanming immortal sects strategizing. Lin Jing now also confirmed one thing, that everything that had befallen the Li family was most likely orchestrated by the Nanming immortal sect. But could it really be that just for the sake of the Li family's inheritance elixir technique, the Nanming immortal sect would go to such great lengths? Lin Jing felt that something didn't quite add up. Lin Jing was perplexed, so he decided he must find a way to uncover the true intentions of the Nanming immortal sect. Once the matter became clear, Li Qingqing suddenly felt lost. Li Qingqing was a person who cherished the past deeply. She returned to the Nanming domain simply because she couldn't bear to see the Li family collapse. Thus, she had rebuilt the Li family all by herself. Yet unexpectedly, not long after the Li family was rebuilt, they caught the attention of the Nanming immortal sect. To Li Qingqing, the Nanming immortal sect loomed like a great mountain overhead, leaving her in despair. Li Qingqing, looking at Lin Jing, said somewhat absent-mindedly, "Lin Jing, brother, was I wrong to want to rebuild the Li family?" Lin Jing shook his head. "You did nothing wrong." Li Qingqing then said, "The Nanming immortal sect is not something our Li family can afford to provoke. No matter what, we can't overcome them. If it weren't for our relations with the Qingyuan sword sect, we would have probably been devoured by the Nanming immortal sect a long time ago." Lin Jing looked at Li Qingqing and spoke. "They're the Nanming immortal sect, with divine transformation cultivators in their ranks. We can only avoid them for now." Yi Yun, however, spoke up at this moment. "Sister Qingqing, actually, rebuilding the Li family doesn't necessarily have to be in the Nanming domain. What if you followed us to the Thousand Islands domain? We could help you take over an island, and you could settle the Li family there. Wouldn't that be good?" Upon hearing this, Li Qingqing began to think seriously. Moving the Li family to the Thousand Islands domain was something she had never considered before. She had grown up in the Nanming domain, and the Nanming domain, including Nanshan Immortal City, contained everything she knew. If she were to leave, then everything she was familiar with would cease to exist. But if she didn't leave, then she would have to hand over the Li family's inheritance elixir technique. This elixir technique was the symbol of the Li family's legacy, and Li Qingqing's grandfather valued it more than his own life, and had instilled the same importance in them since they were young. Therefore, Li Qingqing was even more unwilling to let go of the inheritance elixir technique. Now, she had no choice but to follow Yi Yun's suggestion and leave the Nanming domain. Li Qingqing then turned to Lin Jing and said, "Lin Jing, brother, if it's not feasible, then, as Yi Yun suggested, I'll take the Li family to the Thousand Islands domain." Lin Jing turned, looked at Li Qingqing, and said, "Going to the Thousand Islands domain is actually not a bad idea." Li Qingqing nodded. Just then, someone from the Li family came to report that another incident had occurred at one of the Li family's properties in Linxian City. Upon hearing this, Li Qingqing immediately stood up and went out. About half an hour later, Li Qingqing returned and reported the situation. This incident was similar to the previous ones, and the Li family needed to dispatch someone to handle it. After being informed, Lin Jing immediately made a decision. This time, let Yi Yun handle it again. I will go with him. I want to see what lies behind such actions by the Nanming immortal sect. Li Qingqing nodded and then spoke. Then I'll have to trouble you, brother Lin Jing. Linxian City. Linxian City is also a well-known large city within the entire Nanming domain. It falls under the jurisdiction of the Nanming immortal sect. Therefore, many of the powers in Linxian City are inextricably linked to the Nanming immortal sect. When the Howling Sky Wolf clan attacked, Linxian City was also significantly affected due to its proximity, and the Nanming immortal sect was also not spared from the impact. The Linxian City of today has already been rebuilt. Previously, the Yun family was the largest power within Linxian City, but the Yun family had already moved the family's focus to the Nanming immortal city prior to the Howling Sky Wolf clan incident. The remaining large forces in Linxian City only consisted of the Ning family and some other powers. However, the landscape of Linxian City changed again after the Howling Sky Wolf clan incident. The biggest power in Linxian City now were two families, one of which was the Ning family that Ning you belonged to, and another, a rising family, the Zhao family. This time, it was the Zhao family that had come into conflict with the Li family. At the gates of Linxian City, Yi Yun, Lin Jing, along with two cultivators from the Li family, made their appearance. The main responsibility for handling the conflict with the Zhao family lay with Yi Yun, while Lin Jing accompanied him to prevent any further surprise attacks. Afterward, the group entered Linxian City. Inside Linxian City, the scene was bustling, hardly less so than in Nanshan Immortal City. Having notified in advance and made arrangements, the group headed straight for the location where negotiations were to be held upon entering the city. However, just as they were nearing that location, they were suddenly stopped in their tracks. "Excuse me, are you people from the Li family?" The person blocking their path asked very politely. One of the Li family's cultivators stepped forward and replied, "Indeed, we are from the Li family. May I ask why you are stopping us, fellow cultivator?" The person who had blocked their way then spoke. "Our family head wishes to see you for a discussion. Please come with us." After the person finished speaking, the brows of the Li family cultivator who was talking to him furrowed slightly. He couldn't help but ask doubtfully, "Which family do you belong to?" "The Zhao family?" Shaking his head, the person replied, "It's not the Zhao family. You will know once you get there." The Li family cultivator frowned and then said, "Sorry, we have matters to attend to." He had not finished speaking when Lin Jing interrupted him. "It wouldn't hurt to meet them." Hearing Lin Jing say this, the Li family cultivator quickly stepped back. On this outing, they were to follow the arrangements of Lin Jing and Yi Yun, as Li Qingqing had told them before they left. So, faced with Lin Jing's sudden interruption, the cultivator didn't say anything more and simply stepped back. After the Li family cultivator stepped back, Yi Yun immediately came forward and said to the person who blocked their way, "All right, then we will accompany you to meet your family head. Please follow me." said the person who had stopped them and started to lead the way. Lin Jing and the others followed behind. In this manner, the group followed the person through the streets and into a narrow alleyway. Eventually, after winding through the alley for a good distance, they stopped in front of a small courtyard deep within. There, the person who had blocked their way stood at the doorway and announced, "Family head, I have brought the people from the Leaf family." As his words fell, the gate of the courtyard opened by itself. Then a pleasant voice came from inside the courtyard. "Please come in." Hearing this pleasant voice, the corners of Lin Jing's mouth curved into a smile. He had guessed right. The voice that came from the small courtyard belonged to Ning. If there was anyone in Linxian City who had some connection to the Leaf family, it would only be the Ning family. Previously, when the Ning family clashed with the Yun family, they had sought help from the Leaf family. Now, as soon as they arrived in Linxian City, someone had found them right away. Besides the Ning family, Lin Jing really couldn't think of anyone else who would do such a thing. Therefore, Lin Jing had chosen to interrupt the Leaf family cultivator, allowing the person blocking their way to bring them here. Ning must have chosen to do this at this time, because she had some unspeakable difficulties to discuss. "Please come inside." The person at the door gestured for them to enter. Lin Jing nodded and made his way inside. As they entered the courtyard, a beautiful and lovely woman came out from one of the rooms in the courtyard. It was Ning. Not having seen her for such a long time, Ning had not changed much and was still very beautiful. When Ning raised her head and saw Lin Jing, she froze and then became rooted to the spot. Only after a moment did Ning speak, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Lin Jing." With a smile on his face, Lin Jing looked at Ning and said, "Fellow Ning, long time no see." After gathering her senses, Ning hurried over and then spoke. "Lin Jing, how come?" Having only spoken half her words, Ning examined Lin Jing and continued. "I had asked about you before. I heard that before the Howling Sky Wolf clan invaded, you had already disappeared. I thought you might have had an accident." Seeing Lin Jing, Ning, after her initial surprise, was noticeably more excited. Lin Jing looked at Ning and replied, "Indeed, I did encounter some accidents, but luckily nothing perilous." While speaking, Lin Jing looked at Ning, examining her carefully, and then said, "It seems you've been doing quite well over the years. So much time has passed, and your appearance has hardly changed. Even your cultivation has reached the golden core stage." Ning smiled and said, "It's been 50 years since we last parted, and many things have happened over these decades. The entire Nanming domain has undergone tremendous changes, and naturally, so have I. The reason my appearance has not changed is that I once took a flawless eternal youth elixir. No wonder." Having said this, Lin Jing suddenly changed the subject and asked, "By the way, has Luo returned over the years?" Ning shook her head. "No. Ever since Luo left with her master, she has never returned. However, the life token she left at home has always been safe and sound, so she must still be cultivating with her master." "I see." Lin Jing nodded lightly. Ning looked at Lin Jing, then said thoughtfully, "Back then, in Nanshan Market, we both only had the cultivation of the Qi refinement realm. Now, not to mention me, even you have reached the golden core cultivation level, haven't you? I guess Wei Jingqing by now must have at least reached the golden core late stage." Hearing this, Lin Jing was stunned for a moment, then asked, "Ning friend, have you not seen Brother Wei all this time?" Ning looked at Lin Jing with some confusion. "No. Ever since that time, when he and Yin Xiong took me back to the Ning family, they went adventuring, and we haven't seen each other since." Lin Jing then replied, "I met Brother Wei in the demonic monster sea, and we returned together. I thought you had seen him." Ning was taken aback for a moment, then asked, "He has returned too?" Lin Jing nodded. "Yes, and Brother Wei now even has a daughter. He returned with his daughter." After hearing this, Ning, laughing, said, "It seems he has finally let go." After that, the two changed the subject and did not talk about Wei Zhengxing anymore. Lin Jing continued, "Are you the family head of the Ning family now?" Ning nodded and said, "The old ancestor passed the position of the family head of the Ning family to me several years ago. You mentioned needing our help. What is it about? Lin Jing asked Ning Yu. Ning Yu then spoke. I originally had a message that I wanted you to pass on to Li Qingqing, but now that you are here, that will be easier. What message? Lin Jing asked. Ning Yu glanced at the others briefly, then suddenly sent a divine message to Lin Jing. The Zhao family has a conspiracy against you. Once you've dealt with this, rush back and inform Li Qingqing that the Nanming immortal sect is now collecting alchemy techniques, and if possible, it would be best to hand them over. Our families cannot compete against the Nanming immortal sect. Lin Jing also sent a divine message asking, why is the Nanming immortal sect collecting alchemy techniques? Ning Yu replied, I also don't know. Our Ning family has already handed over the alchemy techniques. Otherwise, we wouldn't have remained safe this whole time. If Li Qingqing doesn't hand over the Li family's alchemy techniques, I'm afraid the Nanming immortal sect will take action themselves. Otherwise, you should consider leaving the Nanming domain. However, based on my understanding of the Nanming immortal sect, leaving might not be so easy. After hearing this, Lin Jing was silent for a moment, then said, I understand. Afterward, Lin Jing and Ning Yu chatted for a while, but he did not stay long and soon left. After leaving the small courtyard, Lin Jing and his group continued toward the previously agreed-upon location. Soon, they arrived at the meeting spot, which was a Zhao family elixir pavilion, and the Li family elixir pavilion was right opposite it. Given how close the two families' elixir pavilions were, it would be unusual not to have conflicts. This negotiation was managed by Yi Yun, so Lin Jing did not accompany him during the talks. After Yi Yun and the others entered, Lin Jing waited at a nearby small tavern, ordering a pot of wine and a couple of side dishes to wait. Meanwhile, his divine sense had already stretched out, covering the entire vicinity. Anything stirring could not escape his surveillance. That included the negotiations with the Zhao family, which Lin Jing continuously monitored. The negotiations lasted for several hours before both parties reached an agreement. Actually, it wasn't a big deal. Lin Jing was very aware. This time, like the last, the real uncertainty would likely be on their journey back. When Yi Yun, after completing the negotiations with the Zhao family, came with the two Li family cultivators to the tavern where Lin Jing was. Master, everything has been settled. What shall we do now? Lin Jing looked at Yi Yun and then said, in a while, we two will head back first. After finishing, Lin Jing again turned his head, looked at the other two Li family cultivators, and said, as for you two, stay here and go back after half a month. There might be some danger on the way back, but Lin Jing and Yi Yun, being of higher cultivation, would not be greatly troubled even if they were to encounter an attack. However, the two cultivators from the Li family were only at the foundation establishment stage, and there was no need for them to risk accompanying them. The two understood Lin Jing's meaning and nodded immediately, indicating their agreement. After making arrangements, it didn't take long for Lin Jing and Yi Yun to leave Linxian City together. When the two left, they didn't make any attempt to conceal themselves and just walked back openly and above board. To return to Nanshan Immortal City from Linxian City, one must pass through a mountain range. That mountain range was sparsely populated and teeming with demonic beasts. But these demonic beasts were all of lower orders, and even those at the Golden Core stage were rarely encountered. If Yanlong truly intended to ambush them, then this mountain range would undoubtedly be the best location. As Lin Jing and Yi Yun flew over the mountain range on their swords, their powerful auras spread out, causing the demonic beasts in the mountains below to be as still as the chill of winter, daring not to move a muscle. At that moment, Lin Jing suddenly stopped. Yi Yun also halted, following Lin Jing's lead. Master, Yi Yun looked at Lin Jing, somewhat puzzled. Lin Jing then spoke. Someone is waiting for us. Upon hearing this, Yi Yun's brow furrowed. So they really do plan to ambush us after all? Lin Jing shook his head. No, openly and blatantly. Having said that, Lin Jing told Yi Yun, you take a detour back, leave them to me. Yi Yun turned his head to look at Lin Jing and said, Master, Yunlong is merely at the golden core peak. I'll stay with you. Lin Jing looked at Yi Yun and replied, You go back first. This time, it's not just Yunlong. Ancestor Yun of the Yun family is also there. If a fight does break out later, I'm afraid you might get caught up in it, so you better head back. After hearing this, Yi Yun did not insist any further and then bowed to Lin Jing. Master, be careful. Lin Jing nodded lightly. Then, Yi Yun changed direction and flew off another way. Yi Yun had great confidence in Lin Jing. Just Ancestor Yun and Yunlong themselves, they were no match for Lin Jing. After Yi Yun left, Lin Jing flew forward once again. Shortly after, Lin Jing arrived at the ambush site. No sooner had Lin Jing flown there than suddenly, a beam of red light shot out from the dense forest below. Following that red light was a black figure. However, before the red light even reached him, Lin Jing had already detected it. Then, with an effortless wave of his hand, Lin Jing flung out a palm strike. This palm strike, although seemingly effortless, had an astonishingly powerful momentum. The entire palm print expanded in midair and then directly stamped down towards the black figure below. The black figure trembled at the sight of this palm print, and even the red light it controlled wavered along with it. The palm print descended, touched the red light, and immediately dispersed it. At that moment, the figure radiated the light of teleportation, clearly using a teleportation talisman. And just like that, the black figure vanished from its original spot. Following that, the palm print continued to fall down, and with a thunderous boom, it smashed into the forest below. Instantly, an enormous palm print, hundreds of yards in size, appeared in the forest below. Everything under that palm print, be it rocks or trees, was pulverized, and the ground where the palm print landed was depressed by several meters. Lin Jing rarely used pure spiritual power against enemies. This was almost his first time, but the power of it was sufficiently daunting. Then, Lin Jing looked up, his gaze directed to the opposite side. There, two figures stood. Both were wearing magical treasure masks, which had incredible concealing effects, such that even Lin Jing's divine sense couldn't penetrate them. However, even with the masks on, Lin Jing was all too familiar with their auras. It was Yunlong and Ancestor Yun from the Yun family. At this moment, the young man clad in black brocade robes, who obviously seemed young, began to speak. I never imagined you truly were a nascent soul cultivator. Lin Jing turned to the young cultivator and said, Yunlong, why do you continue to hide? Do you think it still holds any meaning? Why not take off your mask? The young cultivator spoke. Lin Jing, I indeed underestimated you at first. I never expected that in such a short span of time, you would advance to the nascent soul stage. Your pace of advancement is truly frightening. As the young cultivator spoke, he slowly removed the mask on his face, revealing his true appearance. It was none other than Yunlong. Seeing Yunlong removing his mask, the other cultivator beside him, his hair peppered with gray, also took off his mask, revealing his true countenance. To Lin Jing's expectations, it was indeed Ancestor Yun from the Yun family. After Ancestor Yun removed his mask, he scrutinized Lin Jing thoroughly before exclaiming, I've heard from Yunlong. He said that 50 years ago, he had met you when you were still a junior cultivator in the Qi refinement realm. It is unexpected that in merely 50 years, you've ascended from the Qi refinement realm to the nascent soul stage. Such a speed of cultivation is unheard of, and it is truly terrifying. It's just such a pity that a genius like you is our enemy. At this point, Ancestor Yun spoke once more. If I'm not mistaken, you were the one who took action against us back in Nanshan Immortal City, weren't you? That's right. Lin Jing nodded. There was no need to conceal it anymore at this stage. Lin Jing turned his gaze towards the two men. While Yunlong's eyes were filled with hatred, Ancestor Yun's eyes showed astonishment and a mix of regret. In their gaze, there was not the slightest hint of fear. Back in Nanshan Immortal City, Ancestor Yun couldn't withstand a single move from Lin Jing, but now he was able to guess this, and yet remained so composed. Lin Jing then said. The two of you have a contingency plan? Ancestor Yin nodded and replied, we are here, in fact, for you. You are a rare talent, and even though I have cultivated for several hundred years more than you, I have to admit that I am not your match. Your current strength, it should be in a late nascent soul stage. Indeed, terrifying. Just a few decades, and you have already reached this point. Since we have our suspicions and wish to deal with you, naturally we have prepared a contingency plan. Just as Ancestor Yin finished speaking, a very powerful aura suddenly emerged from behind the two of them. Their contingency plan is me. The voice arrived, but the person was not yet in sight. This overwhelming aura was much stronger than Lin Jing's. Lin Jing couldn't help but frown. He never expected that he would ultimately have to confront him. This powerful aura was not unfamiliar to Lin Jing. The newcomer was of the divinity transformation stage, and the only one who could appear here at this time, other than the divinity transformation stage ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect, was unlikely to be anyone else. The person Lin Jing least wanted to encounter now was precisely the divinity transformation stage ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect. Right from the start, since Lin Jing had learned about the conflict between the Li family and the Yun family in Seawatch City and its possible connection with the Nanming immortal sect from a cultivator of the Heavenly Secrets Association, Lin Jing had been wary that this worst-case scenario might occur. But now, the ancestor from the Nanming immortal sect had truly appeared. When that voice settled, an old man with a somber expression and a hunched body, appearing weak and frail, stood before Lin Jing. However, the aura emanating from him was exceedingly astonishing. Even Lin Jing couldn't help but furrow his brow and be on guard upon seeing this old man. As soon as the old man arrived, Yun Long and Ancestor Yun quickly bowed and respectfully addressed the old man. Ancestor, this is Lin Jing. In just 50 years, he advanced from the Qi refinement realm to the late nascent soul stage. With such a rapid advancement, there must be a great secret upon him. At this point, the old man lifted his eyes, gave Lin Jing a glance, and then spoke. He looks indeed quite young. The voice of the Nanming ancestor was hoarse, sounding like stones grinding on the ground. Yet, when the voice reached one's ears, it felt like a demon's whisper, terribly uncomfortable to hear. Having spoken, the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect turned to Lin Jing and continued. I won't say much more. As long as you hand over the secret to your cultivation enhancement, I will let you go. Facing the oppressive demand of the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect, Lin Jing frowned slightly and then, with a look of concentration, asked the ancestor, was targeting the Li family your idea? The ancestor of Nanming immortal sect nodded. Indeed, at first, I only wanted the Li family's inheritance elixir technique, but I hadn't expected you to appear. Looking at it now, your value is much greater than that elixir technique. Lin Jing fell silent for a moment before continuing to ask. I also want to know if the demonic techniques practiced by the Yun family are related to Nanming immortal sect. The ancestor of Nanming looked at Lin Jing, smiled with a sneer, and said, as long as you hand over the secret that allows you to enhance yourself so rapidly, then I can tell you. Lin Jing then spoke. I'm afraid you can't take my secret. The ancestor of Nanming immortal sect looked at Lin Jing with a face full of disdain. Do you really think you can escape today? Lin Jing then said. How would I know without trying? As his words fell, the aura around Lin Jing suddenly surged upward. Opposite the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect, although his aura was not as fierce as the ancestor's, it was still not weak. The ancestor Yun and Yun Long, caught between them, were now in a difficult situation, seeing Lin Jing attempting to resist under these circumstances. The ancestor of Nanming immortal sect's face suddenly turned cold. Courage is commendable, but it's a pity you're facing me. Without reaching divinity transformation, you'll never understand the gap between nascent soul and divinity transformation. However, before the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect could finish speaking, Lin Jing had already begun to act. Suddenly bursting with speed, he appeared beside Ancestor Yun instantaneously. For the upcoming confrontation with the Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect, Lin Jing did not want any distractions. Therefore, without hesitation, he directly struck at Ancestor Yun. The sudden outburst from Lin Jing took Ancestor Yun by surprise. Fortunately, he was always on guard. The very moment Lin Jing disappeared, Ancestor Yun shouted, "Lifebound puppet, come forth." With Ancestor Yun's command, a giant golden armor puppet clad in golden armor appeared, standing in front of Ancestor Yun. This golden armor puppet, as soon as it appeared, lifted its huge hammer and smashed it towards Lin Jing. However, seeing this, Lin Jing didn't even bother to dodge. His body suddenly shone with dark light as a formidable aura erupted from him. Next, Lin Jing shot through the air towards the golden armor puppet. Lin Jing's action caused Ancestor Yun, who was hiding behind the armor, to have a solemn expression. Without the slightest hesitation, Ancestor Yun opened his mouth and spurted out a mouthful of blood onto the puppet. As Ancestor Yun's blood was absorbed by the golden armor puppet, it suddenly exploded with intense golden light. And at that exact moment, Lin Jing collided with the golden armor puppet. With a boom, the earth-shaking noise emanated from their contact. Ancestor Yun, looking slightly pale, then spoke. "My lifebound puppet is as hard as a Tao artifact. Even if you're a body refinement cultivator, you won't be able to break it instantly." And the puppet, as if it had its own consciousness, shone even brighter with golden light, looking even more majestic. However, just as the golden light on the puppet was at its strongest, the light suddenly disappeared. No, it was not just the light. The entire puppet just vanished in a thin air. The moment the golden armor puppet disappeared, Ancestor Yun's face turned as white as a sheet. A gush of blood spurted out as he gasped. Ancestor Yun, filled with disbelief, pointed at Lin Jing and said, "You, my lifebound puppet. Where did you send my lifebound puppet?" Lin Jing did not answer. His divine sense instantly probed out, attacking Ancestor Yun. Simultaneously, another invisible flying sword hidden in the shadows also struck at Ancestor Yun. At that moment, Ancestor Yun, still incredulous, did not react. Just as Lin Jing's divine sense was about to reach Ancestor Yun, a divine sense force, even more powerful than Lin Jing's, suddenly emerged, protecting Ancestor Yun. And Lin Jing's flying sword was struck by a sudden surge of tremendous force, revealing its presence. Clearly, the Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect had personally taken action. Feeling the overwhelming divine sense force bearing down on him, Lin Jing quickly retreated. While doing so, he made sure to recall his flying sword. The Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect was just too strong, especially his divinity transformation stage divine sense, under which all of Lin Jing's subtle moves were exposed. Just now, Lin Jing had been thinking of secretly using his Linxian flawless sword to launch a surprise attack and first eliminate Ancestor Yun. However, under the divine sense of the Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect, his plan was exposed as soon as it started. There was no choice. After all, there was a realm difference between the two of them. His divine sense was simply too strong. After Lin Jing withdrew, the Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect did not give chase but stood in front of Ancestor Yun instead. Next, he looked up at Lin Jing, his gaze full of scrutiny. "It seems there are indeed many secrets on you. How that golden armor puppet vanished just now. Even I couldn't see clearly. Do you perhaps have a space-related Taoist treasure on you?" At this time, Ancestor Yun, having lost his lifebound puppet, had sustained serious injuries, and his aura was extremely unstable. He couldn't care less about stabilizing his own breath and glared at Lin Jing angrily. "Where is my lifebound puppet? Where did you hide it?" The lifebound puppet had naturally been taken by Lin Jing into the system space. But faced with the scrutiny from the Ancestor of Nanming Immortal Sect and the questioning of Ancestor Yun, Lin Jing didn't speak. Instead, he sheathed the Linxian flawless sword and suddenly burst into extreme speed, running away. Upon seeing Lin Jing's sudden escape, the complexion of the Nanming immortal sect's ancestor immediately darkened. The Nanming immortal sect's ancestor snorted coldly. "Oomph. Do you think you can escape from me?" Having said that, the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect took a step and chased after Lin Jing. As a divinity transformation cultivator of Nanming immortal sect, his speed was naturally fast. However, Lin Jing was an 8th-layer nascent soul-body refinement cultivator, and the burst of extreme speed of a body refinement cultivator far surpassed that of cultivators of the same rank. Therefore, the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect did not catch up with Lin Jing immediately. After turning to flee, Lin Jing was, of course, aware of the Nanming immortal sect's ancestor pursuing him. Lin Jing did not dare to underestimate the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect and burst into extreme speed several times in a row to widen the distance between them. Although it was only a temporary distance, the Nanming immortal sect's ancestor followed closely behind Lin Jing like burr attached to bone. Although Lin Jing could burst into extreme speed and temporarily widen the gap, doing so was only a temporary measure that couldn't last long. Subsequently, Lin Jing's divine sense entered his space ring, and he took out a great teleportation charm from within. Then, Lin Jing directly crushed the great teleportation charm. At the same time as the great teleportation charm was crushed, a strange spatial force enveloped Lin Jing. Just at this moment, divine sense came from behind. Great teleportation charm. But it's all in vain. Do you really think that with a great teleportation charm, you can escape from my grasp? However, Lin Jing did not pay any attention to that divine sense, and instead silently recited in his heart, "Enter the system space." As if the great teleportation charm had taken effect, at the moment when the spatial force was at its strongest, Lin Jing suddenly disappeared from where he had been. Inside the system space, Lin Jing suddenly appeared. After appearing in the system space, without any hesitation, he immediately summoned the system and said, "System, activate observation mode." Right now, next to Lin Jing, the huge golden armor puppet lay motionless. However, Lin Jing didn't have time to study the golden armor puppet at the moment. As Lin Jing's words ended, the scene before his eyes changed again, and he appeared outside. This time, Lin Jing's body was in the system space, but he observed the outside world in observation mode. Through Lin Jing's perspective of observation, the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect soon flew over. After arriving, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect stopped, then extended his divine sense, scanning around ceaselessly. As time passed, the Nanming immortal sect ancestor's complexion became increasingly gloomy. It was only after a while that he spoke with a dark expression. "It shouldn't be. Just a great teleportation charm should not have such a long distance. Could it be that I have been tricked?" After the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect finished speaking, he looked up ahead. It was then that 2 more figures flew over from behind. The 2 who arrived were none other than Ancestor Yun and Yun Long. After their arrival, seeing only the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect there, they felt puzzled. Then, Ancestor Yun saluted with his hands and inquired of the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect. "Ancestor, where is Lin Jing? Have you not caught up with him?" The ancestor of Nanming immortal sect turned his head and gave the 2 a cold glance. They felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave and immediately lowered their heads, not daring to speak. Subsequently, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect retracted his gaze, looked forward, and said, "He can't run away." After speaking, the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect looked at the 2 again and spoke. This time coming out, Lin Jing was with his disciple, and his disciple should still be within this mountain range, not far away. "You too, go and capture his disciple." Ancestor Yun and Yun Long hurriedly bowed and said, "Yes." The 2 finished speaking and saw no response. Only when they stood up did they realize that the ancestor of Nanming immortal sect had already disappeared without a trace. Yun Long and Ancestor Yun exchanged a glance, then spoke. Ancestor, let's go and capture that disciple of Lin Jing. Ancestor Yun nodded. Afterward, the two of them discerned the direction and turned to fly towards Nanshan Immortal City. However, just as the two of them relaxed their vigilance and turned around, a figure suddenly appeared. Ancestor Yun had just become alert when he felt something strange with his body. Ancestor Yun looked down and suddenly discovered a burst of five-colored aurora at his chest. This five-colored aurora was beautiful at a glance, yet it was so dazzling. If it appeared somewhere else, he might have stopped to admire it. But it was on his own chest. Accompanying the appearance of the five-colored aurora was a hole in his chest, large enough to fit a fist. Ancestor Yin struggled to turn his head and looked behind. He also saw that familiar figure. He couldn't help but blurt out, Lin Jing. However, these two words would be the last he would ever say. The five-colored aurora erupted, engulfing Ancestor Yun completely. And Yun Long, just before the explosion of the five-colored aurora, had already retreated in advance, leaving Ancestor Yun's side. Yun Long looked at Ancestor Yun enveloped by the five-colored aurora and was struck with grief. Ancestor. However, Ancestor Yun could no longer hear anything, because by that time, the five-colored aurora had already dissolved most of Ancestor Yun's body. Even the purple nascent soul, less than 2 inches big inside him, was also bound by the five-colored aurora, struggling in vain to break free. It could only watch as the five-colored aurora slowly consumed it. This process might seem slow to describe, but it didn't even take a single breath. Ancestor Yun was consumed by the five-colored aurora, disappearing completely. Only then did Yun Long come back to his senses from his grief. Yun Long's eyes were bloodshot, with demonic qi bursting from his body, almost forming a substantial presence. Yun Long glared at Lin Jing, teeth clenched, and said, Lin Jing, you've destroyed my Yun family, killed our ancestor. I, Yun Long, swear that if I am fortunate enough to not die today, one day I will surely kill everyone close to you and reduce you to ashes. Confronted with Yun Long's threat, Lin Jing only found it laughable. Since he had chosen to act, he naturally had no intention of sparing Yun Long. As Yun Long's words fell, the demonic qi on his body suddenly burst forth, and then he rushed towards Lin Jing like a madman. Facing Yun Long's charge, Lin Jing reached out his hand, and several streams of five-colored aurora flew out from his hand. Then they headed towards Yun Long. Yet Yun Long, his eyes filled with madness, didn't retreat in the face of the five-colored aurora. Rather, he continued flying towards Lin Jing. However, just as the five-colored aurora was about to reach Yun Long, the frenzied, demonic qi around him suddenly stalled, managing to blockade the five-colored aurora for a moment. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yun Long charged at Lin Jing, and as he neared Lin Jing, Yun Long's body, like an inflating balloon, suddenly swelled, emanating an extremely unstable and dangerous aura. Then, with a loud boom, Yun Long exploded into pieces. Yun Long's flesh and blood scattered with the explosion. The blast was indeed powerful. Within a radius of several kilometers, it created a vast crater, and the ground around the crater was also leveled by the explosion. Above the crater, Lin Jing still stood there, in front of him a spiritual shield condensed by spiritual power protecting him, and he was completely unharmed. The destructive power of Yun Long's self-destruction was immense, but the gap in cultivation between him and Lin Jing was simply too great. Even allowing him to get close was not enough to harm Lin Jing. Lin Jing dispelled the spiritual shield and then looked down into the crater. Inside the crater, a conspicuous pool of red was visible. This was all that was left of Yun Long after his self-destruction. As for the rest of his flesh, it had likely been blasted far away. The once haughty young master of the Yun family, Yun Long, in the end, was reduced to nothing but a pool of blood. Even on that bloodstain, Lin Jing could still feel a faint trace of demonic qi. Yun Long had actually self-destructed just like that. Lin Jing stood above the deep pit, looking down at the bloodstains imbued with demonic qi, lost in thought. Yinlong's self-destruction felt extremely off to Lin Jing. Just moments ago, he was spouting madness, looking as if he wanted to devour Lin Jing alive. Yet in the next moment, he had ended his own life in such a drastic way by self-destructing. Was it merely to deal a fatal blow to himself? That seems somewhat unlikely. He should have known that even if he self-destructed, he could not possibly hurt Lin Jing. Could there be another variable involved? Lin Jing furrowed his brows. Staring at the bloodstain exuding demonic qi below, a thought crossed his mind. Following that, Lin Jing extended his hand, and a five-colored aurora emerged from it, shooting towards the pool of blood in the pit at a very high speed. The five-colored aurora was swift, reaching the bloodstain in an instant. However, the bloodstain showed no response. Originally, Lin Jing had planned to investigate further, but just then, a strong presence was rapidly approaching. Clearly, the noise from Yinlong's self-destruction had alerted the senior of the Nanming immortal sect, who was now rushing towards this location at high speed. Lin Jing immediately decided not to delay any longer and quickly left the area, flying towards the distance. However, it wasn't long before Lin Jing entered the system space again. After returning to the system space, Lin Jing immediately activated the observation mode to return to the pit. Lin Jing didn't believe that Yinlong had just died like that, but there was no more time for further investigation. So, Lin Jing had to return to the system space and observe secretly. Indeed, not long after Lin Jing left, the senior from Nanming immortal sect arrived at the pit. Upon arrival, he extended his divine sense, scanning the surrounding area thoroughly. After scanning the area, the senior from the Nanming immortal sect frowned. The senior looked down at the pit with the blood tainted with demonic qi, then gestured with his hand. Suddenly, the pool of blood detached from the pit and rose into the air. Accompanying the blood were countless flesh fragments also flying towards the senior of the Nanming immortal sect. Soon, those bloodstains began to coalesce into a single drop of blood exuding demonic qi. At that moment, the senior from Nanming immortal sect acted again. He made a swipe with his hand, and a red streak of demonic qi appeared, forming into a strange formation that enveloped the coalesced blood drop. Following this, the senior from Nanming immortal sect's aura began to change, and countless red demonic qi surged from within him. The change in the senior's aura now resembled Yinlong's. Unexpectedly, this senior from the Nanming immortal sect had also cultivated those demonic techniques. When the senior no longer concealed his practice of demonic techniques, his aura grew even stronger. If previously the senior's cultivation was only at the first or second level of divinity transformation, now with the exposed demonic techniques, his cultivation was at least between the 5th and 6th levels. His entire power had increased significantly. If it had been the early stages of the divinity transformation, Lin Jing might have fought against him, but now at the mid-stage, fighting him would be hopeless. After the formation coalesced, the senior's demonic qi burst forth, and he cast several seals with his hands. After the seals were cast, they flew towards the formation in midair, which immediately expanded, encompassing a wide area around it. And the droplet of blood, tainted with demonic qi, floated in the middle of the formation. As the formation expanded, the bloodstains and shattered flesh began to gather towards the center of the formation. Lin Jing, within the system space, used the observation mode to watch this. At this moment, Lin Jing refrained from taking any rash actions. Observing the actions of the senior from the Nanming immortal sect, it seemed as though he intended to resurrect Yinlong. At this time, Lin Jing could have suddenly appeared and ambushed the senior from the Nanming immortal sect. Yet he couldn't do that. The demonic techniques, enabling revival even after self-destruction, should not be underestimated. Lin Jing observed in this manner to better understand the demonic techniques, preparing himself for the upcoming encounter with the senior from the Nanming immortal sect. From the moment Lin Jing encountered the senior from Nanming immortal sect, it was destined that the senior would not let him go. And if Lin Jing wanted to protect himself, he had no choice but to think of a way to eliminate the senior from Nanming immortal sect. As time slowly passed, the flesh began to merge together. With the aid of demonic techniques, it gradually formed a human shape. Just then, the senior from Nanming immortal sect waved his hand, and countless red, demonic chi burst from him. The demonic chi surged, swirling towards the human-shaped blood and flesh. Then, the chi enveloped the human-shaped blood and flesh. At that moment, the formation emitted a faint red glow and began to rotate. Lin Jing noticed that, as the formation started rotating, something began emerging from beneath the ground. When that thing appeared, Lin Jing immediately recognized it. It was a dark red blood drop, shimmering with a green light. If Lin Jing's guess was correct, this blood drop effusing green light was the key to Yunlong's resurrection. After the blood droplet appeared, it was immediately attracted by the formation. Then, the blood droplet slowly flew towards the center of the formation. As the blood droplet drew near, the demonic chi enveloping the humanoid flesh dispersed. Through the gaps that opened up, Lin Jing saw that the humanoid flesh had transformed back into the shape of Yunlong. This demonic technique was indeed eerie. It even included such a life-preserving method. Following this, the blood droplet emitting a blue light flew to Yunlong's forehead and then slowly entered it. Once the blue light entered Yunlong's forehead, the red demonic chi gathered again, enveloping Yunlong once more. After that, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect waved his hand again, and a great amount of demonic chi burst forth from his body, surging towards the formation. After being enveloped by the demonic chi again, the ancestor of Nanming made several hand signs, condensing numerous seal scripts that flew towards the formation. After the seal scripts flew out, the formation began to rotate faster, and even as it spun rapidly, it also kept shrinking. Throughout this process, Lin Jing watched intently. It wasn't until an hour later that the formation faded and finally disappeared, and Yunlong within the formation revealed his form once again. When the formation completely vanished, even its aura disappeared out of existence. It was at this moment that Yunlong opened his eyes. Upon opening his eyes, Yunlong first appeared stunned for a moment. Then he came to his senses. Realizing his situation, Yunlong quickly turned his head, looking around. When he spotted the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect, he hurriedly came before him and knelt down. "Master, Ancestor Yin of my Yin family was ambushed and killed by Lin Jing." It was only with his cry of "Master" that Lin Jing realized that Yunlong was, in fact, a disciple of the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect. The ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect looked at Yunlong with a calm expression. "Lin Jing is a late-stage, nascent soul cultivator, much higher than you all, and moreover, he shamefully launched a sneak attack. Such an outcome is quite normal. But rest assured, he won't be able to escape." With that said, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect looked up, his expression serious, gazing ahead. He was looking in the direction where Lin Jing had headed after Yunlong's self-destruction. Under his powerful divinity transformation stage divine sense, it seemed none of Lin Jing's movements could escape detection. Seeing the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect so earnest, Yunlong quickly got up and stood to the side. Then, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect spoke directly. "Lin Jing, I know you're nearby." As the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect spoke, his words rang with shock. But his expression was serious, and his tone was very firm. It appeared he was quite certain that Lin Jing was nearby. His words made Yunlong at his side look utterly shocked. Soon, he hastily turned his head, glancing around, but found nothing. The ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect's face remained calm before he continued. "Earlier, you pulled out a great teleportation charm, and I initially thought you were going to flee, so I chased after you. But to think you actually duped me, turning back to launch a sneak attack on them both. I must say, That was truly a poor decision. After finishing, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect even shook his head regretfully. I don't know what you were thinking, but it's this sneak attack that has confirmed something for me. On you, there absolutely is a Taoist treasure, or even an innate Tao treasure level spatial treasure that can temporarily allow one to hide. I won't say anything else. Surrender this spatial treasure, and I will spare your life. Having finished speaking, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect once again extended his divine sense, scanning the vicinity. Yin Long, standing beside him, also scanned around, yet he looked puzzled. As the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect finished speaking, there was no response for a long time. He furrowed his brows, then spoke again. It seems you do not intend to come out, do you? After saying this, the ancestor of the Nanming immortal sect scanned the area again, but still there was no response. He continued, although I have never seen such a treasure before, I also know that the higher the rank of a treasure, the harder it is to control. Moreover, using it consumes a tremendous amount of spiritual power. Since you wish to hide, I shall see just how formidable your treasure really is and how long you can endure. Having said this, the elder from Nanming immortal sect directly crossed his legs and simply sat down next to the deep pit formed by Yun Long's self-detonation. As for Yun Long, although somewhat suspicious, he also sat down behind the elder of Nanming immortal sect. The words of the elder from Nanming immortal sect were indeed true, but that was in reference to the spatial treasure. However, Lin Jing's system space did not fall into that category. At that time, both were outside, guarding Lin Jing. If Lin Jing were to leave now, he would definitely be discovered immediately. Though Lin Jing was not a match for the elder of the Nanming immortal sect, once outside, relying on his own strength, Lin Jing believed he could still hold his own against him for a while. But that was merely holding his own. Thinking about defeating him, or even killing him, was nothing but wishful thinking. If it were under his normal cultivation, Lin Jing might have still tried, but this elder of the Nanming immortal sect had practiced demonic techniques, drastically increasing his strength and crossing several minor realms in succession, making Lin Jing completely no match for him. Lin Jing, not leaving, was also continuously thinking of how to deal with this person. Lin Jing had also thought about, after leaving, luring him to the other two sects and having the other two great sects elders take action. But that was simply courting death. Not to mention, the elders of the two sects were already acquainted with the elder of the Nanming immortal sect, and it was possible that upon being led there, before Lin Jing could even speak, they might join hands in hunting him. Moreover, Lin Jing did not even know them, and even if he truly exposed the matter of the elder of Nanming immortal sect practicing demonic techniques, who would believe him? At that time, the elder of Nanming immortal sect would counteract, and Lin Jing would be even more unable to justify himself. Perhaps it would also implicate the Li family and Li Qingqing. Thus, this was absolutely not an option. Unable to rely on others, Lin Jing could only rely on himself. In this way, the elder from Nanming immortal sect continued to guard outside where Lin Jing was, while Lin Jing used observation mode, observing and simultaneously thinking of a strategy. In this way, several hours passed in a flash. The elder from Nanming immortal sect looked towards the front, his expression grim, and the aura around him also began to fluctuate. It seemed he was gradually becoming impatient. Seeing that Lin Jing still did not appear, the elder from the Nanming immortal sect could not help but speak again. Lin Jing, I know you are nearby. You won't come out, huh? Since it is so, don't blame me. Having said this, the elder from the Nanming immortal sect turned his head and said to Yun Long at his side, Yun Long, take a trip to Nanshan Immortal City, annihilate the Li family, and by the way, capture Li Qingqing, the family head. After hearing this, Yun Long quickly bowed and said, Yes, master. Having said this, Yun Long then rode his flying sword and flew towards the direction of Nanming Immortal City. Meanwhile, the elder from Nanming Immortal Sect continued to wait in the same place, waiting for Lin Jing to appear. The thing Lin Jing feared most had finally happened. Unable to catch Lin Jing, the elder from Nanming immortal sect started to cause trouble for Li Qingqing. Fortunately, Lin Jing had anticipated this and had already thought of a strategy. This was the elder of Nanming immortal sect's solution to break the situation, but it was also Lin Jing's opportunity. If Yunlong had stayed by the side of the elder of the Nanming immortal sect, Lin Jing would have really found it difficult to kill him. But now that they were separated, Lin Jing also had a chance to kill him. This time, Lin Jing would not give him another chance to come back to life. Just as Yunlong rode his flying sword and left, Lin Jing also controlled the observation angle, keeping up with Yunlong. Lin Jing knew, with Yunlong leaving, the elder from Nanming immortal sect would definitely be watching closely. But precisely at this time, Lin Jing wanted to eliminate Yunlong. Otherwise, when Lin Jing truly confronted the elder from Nanming immortal sect, he would no longer have the energy to deal with Yunlong. Yunlong would then become the biggest variable. His demonic techniques were too sinister, threatening both himself and the people around him. Lin Jing must eliminate him before that. Remembering the arrogant words Yunlong had declared before his self-detonation, Lin Jing could not help but sneer. Still want to kill the people around oneself, to scatter one's own ashes? Don't even think about it. Since Lin Jing decided to kill him, he would definitely not leave any troubles behind.